After 7 years of violent revolution, our American founders were well aware that political factions were most often used to divide and conquer the people. And they knew that the republic they created would only last as long as the people could remain educated. In 1816, Thomas Jefferson wrote, "If a nation expects to be ignorant and free in a state of civilization, it expects what never was and never will be." By the end of the Civil War, the two-party system became the norm. The globalist system we face today was born, and the deliberate dumbing down of the American citizen began with our great-great-grandparents. In the late 1800s, the Skinner-Pavlovian method was brought into American schools by Johns Hopkins. These psychological methods allowed teachers the ability to program students' behavior in the same way that Pavlov did with dogs. In 1934, the Carnegie International Endowment for Peace published the Report on the Commission on Social Studies, which explicitly stated the goal of eventually taking away people's land, and noted that most people would obviously oppose this. The solution was to begin using the school system to recondition the minds of children. In 1976, the bicentennial year of the Declaration of Independence, 124 congressmen signed the Declaration of Interdependence, which stated that 2 centuries ago, our forefathers brought forth a new nation. Now we must join with others to bring forth a new world order. And it pledged to give children special attention in distributing a common education to suit their goals. By the 1990s, this globalist dumbing down system was perfected, and America began exporting it worldwide in what is known as outcome-based education. Starting in 2010, Common Core began in the United States. It outlined what students were expected to know at each grade level and enforced ways to assess those standards. Charlotte Iserby, author of The Deliberate Dumbing Down of America, has traced most of this agenda stemming from the Order of Skull and Bones at Yale, through both Republicans and Democrats, 2 wings of the same globalist bird, which understood that dumbed down people have a base desire for a simple dualistic choice. In 1953, the Rockefeller Foundation funded the Robbers Cave experiment, wherein 11-year-old boys who thought they were signing up for summer camp were organized into 2 separate tribes and were manipulated into fighting each other, which was easily accomplished by having a single resource that the 2 groups competed for. The Henry Tajfel experiments of the 1970s showed that by simply dividing people into 2 groups, they would naturally identify with their own group and discriminate against the other. The basic ego mind is constantly making preferences. No matter how dumb you are, you have an opinion about everything. And if you can keep the population dumb enough and give them 2 parties to choose from, they will innately identify with one and despise the other. This allows the globalist system the cover they need to implement unpopular policies, such as a central bank digital currency, while we, the people, ignorantly fight each other. United we stand, divided we fall, and we've been falling for it for generations. The American people have been so thoroughly dumbed down that we think freedom is the ability to choose between 2 parties working for the same control system. And we have been made so weak that we are afraid to even discuss the option of violence, which is most often the only remedy for tyranny. But if we were an enlightened people, we could simply unite together as one and just say no to the tyrants. The answer to 1984 is 1776.
There she was, just walking down the street singing.
The Declaration of Independence states that every person possesses 3 inalienable rights: life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness. 247 years have passed, and we have mostly forgotten what those words mean. Today, it seems that most of us think that the pursuit of happiness means the pursuit of pleasure and the avoidance of pain and distress. This confusion can best be explained by the dumbing down of America and the gross lack of spiritual enlightenment in today's society. In modern society, the childish atheist will often ask, if there is a God, why do bad things happen to good people? As if the earth is supposed to be a utopia where humans are born to experience nothing but pleasure. Like all utopian ideations, this is a fantasy for the weak-minded who seek to avoid the pain of life. Bad things happen to everyone so that we can overcome them, learn, and grow. The earth is nothing at all like a utopia. It is a wild place where one must kill in order to live. It does not matter if one is carnivore, vegetarian, or vegan, and it does not matter if you pay someone else to kill for you. Life can only be sustained by life. And perhaps this is why civilization was created, which many will argue. But more often than not, civilizations have served the tyrants at the top while enslaving the people to run whatever system has been put into place. But on July 4th of 1776, our founding fathers drafted something very unique, perhaps the most revolutionary form of spiritual self-government which has ever been penned to paper. They understood what the pursuit of happiness meant. To Thomas Jefferson, it meant the pursuit of a meaningful life, and it was preceded on the list by life and liberty because individual freedom is needed in order to choose your own path in life. If God has a purpose for each and every one of us, then we have the right to live our life freely so that we can pursue our own life's work. The American Revolution created a form of government that serves to protect and defend the individual's right to pursue their very own path, so long as they respected the rights of others. It established a form of government whose sole purpose was to protect these unalienable rights that each individual human deserves. But this is obviously not the case anymore. The government today is serving the interests of what we could refer to as the New World Order, a worldwide police state to manage a belligerent population of undisciplined slaves. Life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness are ethical goals, and the problem today is that the American people are no longer an ethical people. Most of us are chasing pleasure in whatever form we can find it in, whether it be drugs, alcohol, food, sex, or just something to buy that will make us feel good for a fleeting moment. While the New World Order definitely had a hand in all this, it is ultimately our own fault. They wanted to turn humanity into an ignorant slave class, so they laid out the bait in the form of social welfare, easy money, and easy access to all sorts of vice. And while some took the bait, those that didn't aren't really doing anything to help our fallen brothers and sisters. Those of us working towards a meaningful life are mostly out for themselves and see the rest as part of the problem. And this has likely been a human struggle throughout all of history. It has often been said that this life is a spiritual battle, and it most certainly is. The majority of the so-called left are not the enemy. They are our neighbors who, through trauma or ignorance, have come to believe the lies of the mainstream media propaganda machine, and they have been weaponized against American patriots by the New World Order. They are the fallen ones. We hold these truths to be self-evident, that all men are created equal, that they are endowed by their Creator with certain unalienable rights, that among these are life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness, that to secure these rights, governments are instituted among men, deriving their just powers from the consent of the governed, that whenever any form of government becomes destructive of these ends, it is the right of the people to alter or to abolish it, and to institute new government, laying its foundation on such principles and organizing its powers in such form as to them shall seem most likely to affect their safety and happiness. If we expect a corrupt government to fix itself while we fight our fallen neighbors, then do we really deserve life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness? This is Greg Reese.
A constitutional republic, not a democracy. The ideal of a democracy is universal equality. The ideal of a constitutional republic is individual liberty. A democracy always degenerates into dictatorship, which promises government-guaranteed equality and security, but it delivers nothing but poverty and serfdom for the people it robs and rules. America was founded as a constitutional republic to safeguard the liberties of the people against the tyranny of democracy or of one-man dictatorship. In this century, great strides have been made toward the goal of subverting our republic into a democracy. The foremost tactic of the subverters is subversion of language. By calling America a democracy until people thoughtlessly accept and use the term, the totalitarians have obscured the real meaning of our principles of government.
Oh, say, can you see by the dawn's early light what so proudly we hailed at the twilight's last gleaming?
That's very dirty.